Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the first session of the Local Heroes, where we're going to interview some of our local heroes from Barcelona, successful entrepreneurs who are really benefiting from our ecosystem. And the first one is Carlota Pi, founder and CEO as well of Holaluz. How are you, Carlota?
Fine, thank you very much for having me here.
Of course, the pleasure is ours. We're going to do just 15 minutes where I want to get to know you a little better, get to ask you some questions about your company,
Great.
your history, and your main challenges as well. And then we're going to move on to the next section of the interview. So my first question for you, just to make sure that everyone knows who we're talking to. What is Holaluz? What is your company? And what are your key metrics as well?
So 7 years ago, after graduating from our MBA, I was sitting together with my two co-founders, Uriol and Ferran. They are sitting over here. We were having a beer and thinking on what can we do actually for helping this sometimes little troubled world being a little bit better. And then after the third beer, I take out of my backpack a paper I spent weeks on writing. And the first page, it says, sharing green energy. And that's what Holaluz is all about. So we buy electricity from more than 400 independent and 100% green power producers. We rent the wires for transportation, and we supply to 121,938 customers as of today at 7 a.m.
Can you repeat that number again?
121,938 customers.
That's quite a lot of customers.
This morning, yeah.
When were you founded? How long was this ago? You said
7 years ago.
7 years.
Yeah.
7 years. That's pretty fast growth in such a challenging industry.
Then concerning the metrics you were asking, today we are growing at a ratio of more than 300 new customers per day.
Per day.
And out of those, almost 1/3, in fact 29%, they come by direct recommendation of existing customers. And this is the number that we are the most proud of.
Wow.
We are a team of 143 members.
143
yeah,
members.
all sitting in Barcelona. And from here, we are supplying energy, green energy, to the world.
To the world?
From now on, we are right now operating only in Spain, but we have expansion plans for the coming years.
You have expansion plans.
Yes.
So that is really amazing how you've gotten from 3 beers to this amazing growth in just 7 years. You have achieved this size, and your competitors are truly big corporations, energy suppliers. What do you think was so unique about your value proposal that allowed you to compete against these Goliaths, these monsters? And how did you convince your first users? What is so unique about your value proposal?
So first thing I have to confess, we haven't drunk a little bit more beer since there, so it's not only 3. And
fair enough.
The value proposition that we have to our customers, so it's 3 things. So once I've read an interview that it was given by Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, and he was asked what's going to be different from 10 years' time.
Yeah.
And he answered, okay, that's a good question, but the good question to have, it's what's going to be the same in 10-year time. And then that interview, it made me think about that. And we gathered together and we thought, what it's going to be the same in 10-year time. And on that, we designed our value proposition. So we really think that in 10-year time, customers are going to be willing to buy from a company that it's aligned to their values. So green energy is going to be an important thing, as it is today. Second thing, our customers are they will like to save, so they don't want to give out money that can be spared. And third thing, they want to be treated as human beings. So for that, the value proposition of Holaluz today, it sits on these 3 columns. First thing is savings, second thing is green energy, and third thing, it's being a customer-centric company.
Really interesting how you're achieving to innovate by asking the opposite question. What is going to be the same in 10 years? And it's obviously working, so congratulations on that. And you said you're 140 employees, almost
43,
150,
yeah.
43. How do you achieve to stay agile, to stay lean, to keep that amazing startup culture? You are at that number where it probably starts to be difficult. What are you doing? What are the main challenges to keep that amazing culture of a startup?
So that is right now the biggest challenge that we have.
Biggest challenge?
Yeah, it's a very important challenge because for us to keep up with the culture of the company, it's one of the key success issues that we have. And what do we do to maintain this culture? So we do a lot of things, but the most important one is trust the people. So
trust.
We really put a lot of effort and energy to hire the right people. And then once they are on board, we share with them a lot of time. We share with them a lot of information. For example, every week we send an email to the whole company explaining to them what are our numbers according to the goals that we set all together. And this is an information that you get every week. So you can know how are we compared to where we should be.
How are we performing as a team?
Exactly. Then, once every month, we have a talk. We call it Hola Beers.
Hola Beers?
Yeah, you know that our history is very related to beer.
I see a leitmotif there.
And in the Hola Beers, we share objectives for the next month, what happened to the last month. People can do Q&A, they can raise their hands or they can submit questions on beforehand. And also we try to bring in speakers also every month to share on other companies. But yeah, still, it's still a challenge and we are working very hard on keeping with the culture.
So I sense a very open culture, a very trustful culture, a very transparent culture. Now, how do you think that this culture, aside from your unique value proposition, which we already covered, how do you think that this culture is a differentiating factor from your main competitors? How do you think this is helping you in your success in getting part of their market share?
So it has an absolutely huge impact because what we do, so we are at the threshold of an energy revolution. So we are not just growing fast and being the local heroes here and being a good or a high performance company. So we are here to really change the world. So we are leading a transformation on the energy sector. We are empowering the people to become producers and consumers of green energy at the same time.
Do you think your employees have this motivation as a drive as opposed to your competitors?
So for that, so if you are joining our dream, you are joining our purpose, so you have to be willing also to change the world. And this is something that we really look for when we are hiring people. So then doing this, it's a huge thing to do. So it's not gonna be easy. It's not being easy.
No.
And it takes a team to do that. And it's all about teamwork and being able to work as a team, being able to build up together, to share and build up together. It's our key differentiator against any competitor. And besides, so I really don't like to be compared with other utilities because it's like it's an easy game to win, no?
It's an easy game to win. I think that is a phrase. I don't want to be compared to the utilities because it's an easy game to win.
Yeah, because if we are talking about teamwork, if we are talking about innovation, if we are talking about disruption, it's an easy game to win.
Indeed.
But I really would like to be compared to other disruptors in mature industries. Just as Amazon did at their time, just as Tesla is doing in the automotive sector. So we are really bringing in this kind of disruption and innovation to the energy sector. So we are starting here, but we're not going to stop it.
Truly a hero wanting to change the world and achieving to do so. Now, I would maybe like to ask you also a little bit of a personal question, because I know you have a strong background in engineering and energy. But you did a master's in mathematical modeling for the finance industry. What was that?
Yeah, that's true. I'm a bit number freak. And
you're a number freak?
And so I used to be more number freak than the number freak that I'm today. So
happy for you.
Yeah, thanks. I've been working very hard for that. But yeah, it's like in our industry, in the energy, it's all about teamwork, as I said, but it's also about data. And being able to manage data, to model data, and extract knowledge out of that data is also very important. And yeah, don't judge me for that, because I was only 26 or something like that when I did this.
I'm not judging you for that. I can barely count to 10, so that is another hero aspect for you. And maybe if I could get a little confession out of you before we started with the machine gun section, is, the tech industry really prides itself, we're clean, energy clean, et cetera, You are a clean energy provider. Is it true that the tech industry is truly concerned about this? You probably know if corporates or companies in the tech industry really are concerned because they would be your customer or not.
They are not.
They are not.
Google is. I have to tell you, Google is one of our first customers, but we don't have an important amount of tech companies as a customers.
That gives me two headlines. I don't like to be compared to utilities because it's an easy game to win. Title number one. And the second one is the tech industry is not as concerned with clean energy as they say they are.
This is how journalists work. So you give them a couple of words and then they made out a headline.
We'll talk in the backstage about that, okay? Okay, now for the machine gun section, I'm going to ask you about 25, 26 questions real fast.
Okay.
I hope I don't get any headlines out of you, because then you're going to accuse me of being a journalist, which I'm not. And so let's go. Have you ever pivoted?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Who was your first investor, family, fool, or friend?
Ourselves, the three co-founders.
Ourselves. Was that fools, family, friends?
Both of, the combination of three, no?
The combination of the three, okay. And you met them at an MBA. Where did you do the MBA?
We did the MBA at IESE Business School.
IESE Business School. How many companies did you start before Holaluz?
None.
None. First company?
First company.
Wow. How did you celebrate your first customer?
I don't remember. So maybe we had a coffee or something.
That's very indicative.
No, because no, we really it's a tipping point in our history. So our first customer is named Elizabeth Cuenca, so we know her very well. Yeah. But we didn't celebrate. We didn't have any money to celebrate at that time.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And how did you celebrate? Did you raise venture capital?
We did 2 years ago, in fact, exactly 2 years ago. So February 26, 2014.
And how did you celebrate that?
Yeah, we went for lunch, I think, yeah.
Went for lunch, very civilized. From beers to lunch,
exactly.
Growing, yeah, you can see that. How many employees do you have? You have 143?
143.
Fantastic. Do you know the names of all your employees?
No, I have to confess. So I know the names of the first 120, but yeah, the last ones, I don't know them. It's something I would like to work on.
Fair enough, fair enough. You can do 150. There's solid theory
of
around.
Course.
You can do that number.
Okay, thanks.
Mentors, yes or no?
Yes.
Accelerators, yes or no?
Yes.
Did you receive public funding?
We got an ENISA. It's not public funding, but it's a loan, a public loan.
Yeah. If you have to do a keynote address, do you do your own slides?
Of course, but I hate PowerPoint, so I never use slides.
I just use Keynote. What is the furthest country you have ever gone to sell or raise money? Now you're working in Spain, but are you trying to look for funding outside of Spain or looking for customers outside of Spain?
So we've been in the Silicon Valley, we've been in Berlin, we've been in London, we've been in many places too.
So the furthest is probably Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, yeah.
4 years ago, did you think you would be here telling about almost these metrics that you're giving me now?
Not at all.
And what is the most difficult negotiation you have had to do? In a couple of words.
You meaning besides my 6-year-old who wanted to wear a dress in the morning while it's gymnastics time?
Fair enough, fair enough. More questions. How did you choose your partners? You met them at the MBA, but how did you choose them exactly? Why them?
Yeah, that's a long history.
They're here, right?
That's a long history.
Why them?
Yeah, I know, I'm seeing you. No, the thing is that We really met. So we met at the MBA. So we've been together for 19 months. So it
Why
really
your
takes a while.
partners in a few words?
Why? Because they are full of energy. They are full enough to really want to change the world.
Full enough, drive,
And yeah, and they dream big, just like
and
me.
dream big. Fantastic. You saying you want to expand internationally? Do you know where you're going to open your next office?
No, we are not going to open any office. So
Okay.
from here, we can manage different countries. Countries we are looking for right now, it's Italy and France. Those first are
Bellissimo.
going to be
Have you ever turned down a customer?
of course.
Very good. Mindfulness, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, fantastic. Is there any secret to your productivity aside of mathematical modeling?
No, the only secret is teamwork.
Great. Who would you like to go to have dinner with one day with whom you haven't had dinner yet?
It's a long list.
Long list.
Yeah, but
I give you 3 names then.
no, I'm going to give you one.
You're going to give me one?
Yeah.
Good.
For tonight, I would love to have dinner with Oprah Winfrey.
Upper wine frame.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And what do you read to get your news?
I get my news from Twitter mainly.
From Twitter mainly?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And yeah, because I don't really want to hear a lot of news.
Fair enough, fair enough. It unfocuses you from your startup.
Yeah, and it's a lot of noise.
Yes, a lot of noise. Thank you very much. You did very well on the
Yeah,
machine
thanks,
gun. I
thank
think
you,
that
thank
she
you.
deserves an applause for this
Thanks.
surviving our machine gun. And to finish with the last 8 minutes we have, we're going to invite on stage a person that I believe is very dear and important to you, Jaume Baró, Director of Business Services at Barcelona Activa. Round of applause for Jaume, please. How are you, Jaume?
I'm fine.
Great to have you on stage.
Thank you.
So, why is he important for your company?
So when we incorporated the company, we decided to stick to a fixed cost equal to 0 policy, very hard, because we didn't have any money at all.
That is resource allocation.
Yeah, and then we were like self-incubated in the ESA meeting rooms for 1 year.
Wow.
And then we decided to hire our first employee, which is sitting here on the second row. Maria, you can raise your hand. And then, okay, we thought, okay, we cannot send this girl every morning the room we are in. So he needs a proper place to work in. And then we've heard about Barcelona Activa, and we decided to apply. That was September 2011.
2011.
And yeah, we applied. We met Jaume and his team. And the first meeting that we had there, really went out of the meeting thinking, okay, they are not going to let us in. Because, yeah, so we thought that those guys are not going to believe what we are up to. And then all of a sudden, so we got like a second meeting and maybe the third meeting, and then we got the phone call, we are in. And that was a truly game changer in our history.
Wow.
And that was all thanks to Jaume, and that's why Jaume is here today.
Fantastic. And Jaume, how was your first impression of Carlota? Because she thought they wouldn't get into Barcelona Activa after that first meeting. What was your first impression then?
Well, you can imagine we received an application from three founders that they basically wanted to do is to change the world, crazy. Setting up a company, crazy. In the energy sector, crazy. So it's quite difficult to create a company and changing the world in the energy sector. The energy sector is a regulated sector, so that means the profit margin is very small.
Yeah.
And probably there are another ways much more easy to change the world than doing business. And after 2 or 3 meetings, they always repeated, but it is possible, but it is possible. And it's clear that
Stubborn.
we saw that in telco,
It was
happening, and we accepted because we consider that we we were crazy too. So
And that's
this
true.
is yes. And
Do you remember that Apple spot? Here's to the crazy ones.
yes.
Here's to the
Yeah.
crazy ones, our local heroes. So you say you met in 2011?
Yeah.
I think the Barcelona ecosystem has changed quite a lot. Maybe you would like to elaborate a little bit, bro, from the startup perspective and the Barcelona Activa perspective, how our ecosystem has really grown during this last 7 years.
Well, I consider that in the last 7 years, the ecosystem has matured a lot.
Matured.
Yes, probably it's the word that we have to use, because now we are better than 7 years ago. The investors are better than 7 years ago. The startups, the founders, all of them, we have learned a lot. And this is very important for an ecosystem.
So it's really matured, and from the perspective of the entrepreneur, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, we've seen many important exits since then. We've seen Social Point, we've seen Privalia, we've seen Trovit, and this is something that it didn't happen when we met back in 2011. So now, having a couple of important exits, it really helps to build up the startup ecosystem, bringing in more investors, bringing in more talent, and that's an important thing to have, for
So
sure.
you would say the ecosystem has matured and it has proven its capacity to
Exactly.
create value. That is fantastic. Do you like that headline?
Yeah, I like that very much.
Good
Thank
one.
you.
And what do you think are the gaps that the Barcelona ecosystem still needs to cover today? What are the main gaps? Where do you see things that we need to work on as an ecosystem?
Probably what we have to do now is to connect better to another cities.
Connect better to other cities.
Yes, to create a real network between cities to facilitate the cross-landing bridges for startups. I think it's the only way to accelerate this growth.
Fantastic. Would you like to add anything to
Yeah,
that,
because
Carlota?
I think that the point where we have the more room for improvement as a startup ecosystem, it's the belief part.
Belief part.
Yes, because we have to dream big, we have to think big, we have to really think that it's possible to do whatever we want to do. So I've been asked many times, so with our metrics, for example, so for taking an example, if we were a company incorporated in the Silicon Valley, the relevance that we would have in the press, it would be like 100 times more. And it's not only our company, it's many companies that are already incorporated in Barcelona and doing it super well.
Yeah.
But it's a question of really thinking that we really can bring innovation disruption to any to any industry in the world. And for
we
that,
need more people to believe in the crazy ones.
more people to believe in the
And
crazy
we
one,
need
and the crazy ones really there for dreaming even bigger.
Fantastic.
And we need much more businesswomen like Carlota too.
And many more business women.
Yeah.
Fantastic,
And more-
fantastic.
and more
Round of
Jaumes,
applause
more
for that, of
Jaumes.
course, of course. And I think that if you don't want to add anything, any closing remark, because we have 1 minute and 15 seconds. Do you want to say something to end with? Maybe a little secret about Carlota to delight our audience? That
What are you
means
going to
yes.
tell?
That's a yes.
No, for me, Carlota is a very good example for our ecosystem. Carlota represents a woman who breaks the stereotypes of businesswoman. And not also because she is a businesswoman, also because, for example, he used a lot the gender equality as a competitive driver in his own company. And this is very important for the companies of the future and very important for all.
Okay, may I add on something then?
You have 20 seconds.
Okay, so tonight you might be on a bar as well, just as we were 7 years ago having beers. And you might be thinking on what can you do to make this troubled world a little bit better. Think about that. And even if you find something, do not forget to switch tonight to Holaluz.
Fantastic. Round of applause for that. Here's to the crazy ones, our local heroes. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Dat was een leuk one.